Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Is screen visible? All of you. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, culprit. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Good. Thank you. All right. So, anyone, any question, any doubt in a last string and password encryption or any other else? All right. I think no one have the question. All right. Okay. So let's continue with our the next topic. As the last that we will discuss that all about the um, cryptography related things like how it was work. Here we can discuss that encrypt that the password, and then we are come on to the string encryption in our the PHP language. And password encrypted code we will discuss in the multiple language like in the JSP also and ASP also, and definitely like in PHP. So now let's come on to the next topic, and what the next topic is to the secure that the cookies related issues. All right. So first of all, that we can discuss that like what are the cookies and how it was work in code level, how it was write that the code as a vulnerable, and then we will write that the secure code for that. Basically, it is very easy to secure the code, only that we have the simple fun function. And but the thing is that first of all that we can will just understand that the things like where when that we need to secure that the cookies. So at the end we'll discuss that like where the cookies are actually implemented in a real time scenario examples. So first of all let's discuss that what was that the cookies it is. So first of all that we can see that the cookies, as we know, like we use internet in our day-to-day lives, and in our the browser we know like every website and every other information that we scroll down scrolling with the via internet through the browser. So browser was save some information regarding that the website a user scroll, which was like a normal text and other type of information. And this text can be, we can say maybe it is a user ID, right? I will just take that some important information, user ID, and some other user information we can say that, right? And then we can see like a session ID. It is also that the very important thing. Session ID are also stored in a cookie, and some other informations are also there. It was stored in the device where the browser was working. So website was that the allow that the on cookies, and this all are the cookies are stored over the login state, and we can also say it is stored that the preferences onto the websites. So basically, when the client send a request for a particular URL, the server was can opt that the include one function is called the set cookie header in a response, right? So in a browser we have that the one fixed response is called the set set header. Sorry, set cookie header. Okay, so set cookie header in the response. This is like a request for a client which is include that the cookie header, which was like come from like in a future request and all. But basically we can say in that the browser cookie was stored in the set cookie function. If we see that about detail about the set cookie header only, so okay, so here you will understand that in deeply like how actually it was work. So set cookie is HTTP response header is used to send a cookie from a server to user agent, right? And here we have that the multiple headers. So here you can see that like this is how actually was cookie was work. And in programming languages also like in ASP.NET or JSP, PHP, Python, any of the language, when we set that the cookie as a server side, so all time that we will use set cookie in a client side also. If we are if developer was generating that the cookie from a client side using JavaScript. Generally in a client side only that we have the one language is called is a JavaScript where the developer was set that the cookie. So in that case also the function was same, is set cookie. So this is that the multiple attribute of that the set cookie, right? We will come on to that point also, right? When we are discussed that about that the cookie to securing and all this thing. So basically that we can see that when we have the function, so in a function, obviously that we have that the parameters. So these all are the some parameters, right? Now the thing was changed is the syntax, right? Format of the syntax was changed. This is that the only the mean of the set cookie function in a header, not in any programming language, right? This all the syntaxes are not used in any specific programming language. In all the programming language like PHP, JSP, and ASP, all are having the different syntaxes. In like some programming languages like Java and .NET, you need to import cookie, and then you can use that the set cookie function, right? Module, cookie module. And in some other language like a PHP, we directly that we can use set cookie function. And also alternative ways are also there in a Java and the .NET, is that we can set the cookie from any means from a configuration file, right? In call like a web.xml and all, right? But not in a PHP. In PHP we can do manually only. Manually means like in a code level, means like in a set cookie function, not with the configuration file, because PHP don't have the compulsory configuration file like Java and .NET have. Java.NET have a one compulsory configuration file is called the web.xml. All are your subdomains, all are the URL. So these all are the these all are the things that we can list onto the configuration file. But in PHP we don't have this type of the restrictions. We don't have the fixed configuration file for that, right? We can do with the individual functions. So here we have the multiple attributes, and yes, so these all are the some things that we have for about the set cookie header. So basically like we can see like how was that the cookie was work. So working of that the cookie, simply cookie have that the key value pair, right, around the HTTP. So when the developer has data that was like we can say it was created the one or more connection, so in that case it was used at the cookie to store the data to the client side. So here we can see like how it was work. So simple cookie was work with that the key value pair. Cookie have that the combination of that the key value pair. For example, like if we are see here, so see that the set cookie, then we can see the name of the cookie and value of the cookie. So the name is that the key and value is whatever name that we can give it. Domain is that the key, whatever or the value of the domain is that the value, whatever data that we can give. For example, domain equals to www.xyz.com, right? So in that case, XYZ is or the value and domain is or the name. So cookie was work with that the key value combination like pair, and when the server want to set cookie like that was passed like that the header name set cookie, and this set cookie with that the key value pair and some other options are also available. So here you can see that these all are the some of the options are there like secure, HTTP only, and so on, right? So now what was that the problem with that the cookie, like when we are working with that the cookie? So simply we can see that like the data was completely controlled of the client side, right? So in that case that the changes of that the value of that the cookie and many more things are that they happen as like a attacker end. That means that we can see that just like that the post and the get request cookie are also thing that where it was transferred that the data from client to the server. At the same time we can see that like there are some sensitive informations are also there sometime in a cookie. If you see that in a session related attack, for example, once you are logging on to the any application, then we can see in that case how it was work. So session ID was generated, for example like session ID, and whatever the session ID it is, right? 1234 and whatever the session ID it is. So this session ID is also stored cookie sometimes, right? Basically nowadays what happened, the browser was automatically create that the one session ID parameter also. So in that case maybe these things are not stored in a cookie, but yes, sometime it is possible maybe that it was stored in a cookie. And these all are the things are stored in a clear text. So anyhow, if the attacker is anyhow try to access that the client side data using the cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting is that the one of the best way to collect that the client data, right? As we know, like in a cross-site scripting, when the attacker was performed that the attack with the help of that the payload is called the document.cookie. It's just like a JavaScript code. With the help of this one, that the attacker was trying to access the client side data, right? So here we can see that HTTP does not encrypt that the header in any way. If you are stored that the cookie, basically that the developer directly write at the set cookie function, and it is not see that like the how was data was stored in a client side, right? It was just stored at the cookie with the help of the set cookie function with the name of the cookie, value of the cookie, expiration time, that's it, right? After that, when we perform that the attack, then we can see like the how was that the cookie was vulnerable. In that case, that the first risk in the cookie is the cookie theft. If that the cookie was stolen by that the attacker, and if session identifier is kept in that the cookie, so in that case what happened, that it was easily perform the session hijacking type of the attack. Basically session ID are also that the one of that the part where we can discuss to secure that how we can secure the session ID, because right now we can see that the cookie and session ID is only stored that the session related things. For example, once you log in, then it was generated the one session ID, so it is stored by default in a session ID, right? PHP says ID in PHP, it is just like mentioned, we can see PHP says ID, right? And then it was generated like the whatever that the ID it is, then it was generated that. Okay, but in a cookie sometime also we can see like the session ID are stored. So in that case, if it is stored that the session ID, so in that case we know that like how it was vulnerable, it is attacker was able to perform the session hijacking attack, right? So yes, the attack is that we can see cookie theft is the possible, obviously. So now let's see like how we can secure that the cookie. So first of all, like we can see management of that the cookie, like how was that the cookie management. So first of all, ensure that sensitive information is not compromised in a cookie. Okay, so basically sometime what happened that the developer was stored that the some of the sensitive information in a cookie. So just ensure that in a code level the sensitive information is not compromised. Second thing is that unauthorized activities, right, via the cookie manipulation, and ensure that proper encryption it is used or not. That is what we will discuss to secure that. Proper encryption is in use, right? So when we using that the cookie, the important thing is to remember that limit the amount of sensitive information that is stored in a cookie, right? Limit the subdomain path also to prevent that the interception by the another application. And the very important thing, ensure the SSL, right? In SSL, so that cookie is not sent in a clear text. This is only way to secure that the cookie, like encrypt that the data of the cookie, use SSL proper way. If it is not used via the cookie, so in that case data is never encrypt, data is goes on to the normal form. So to encrypt that the cookie, that we need to use that the SSL certificate. So enforce the SSL, so the cookie is not sent in a clear text. All right, So this is how that we can manage that the cookie. And last one is the very important, make the cookie HTTP only. So it is not accessible to JavaScript. And it is why it is important, because attacker is only have that the one way to access the cookie via the JavaScript. Because as a programming, as a code level, only the JavaScript language is that with the help of this one that we can access the client side code, right? So make the cookie HTTP only. That was also that we can discuss. This is that the important thing that we will discuss to secure that the cookie, right? Cookie HTTP only, right? We will discuss what is the HTTP only. To JavaScript, right? So this is that how we can manage that the cookie. So yes, so these all are the things that we have to manage that the cookies. So just see that proper encryption it is used or not, sensitive information is not compromised, it is a theoretical, just verify that. And this one is like depend on to the SSL. And the last one which we are used as a programmatically, like how we can make that the cookie only, like HTTP only, so it's not accessible to JavaScript, because the attacker is only way to access the cookie JavaScript. With the help of the JavaScript, we can select the attacker was trying to access the cookie which was stored in a client side. So let's see the practical approach of that. First of all, let me just write the simple vulnerable code, okay, which was stored that the normal cookie. So alright, so let me just write the simple basic. Alright, so we need that the one form also where from the user was insert the some data. So let me just copy paste the normal form. So this is the form. Alright, so this is that the normal user form, right, where we have that the two field, username and the password. Now let's store that the data in our the cookie. So if is set $post to the submit, that means when the user was click on to the submit, right, here it is a submit button, and the post means the what method that we use in a form. So we use that the post method. If we are use the get method, then it was clearly visible in a URL. So if it is set post to the submit, so in a post we have the three fields are there, username, password and the submit. So when the user was click onto the submit, so in after that it was sent that the user and the password to the database. And how it was, so here we can create a one variable. In a name variable we can store that the user, okay, here it is. So in user, whatever the username, for example in the form, if the user is entered that the username is the admin, so it was stored, send the admin to the $name variable, and in a server side we can access that the username with the help of the $name. Password, as we know, is a sensitive information, so we don't need to store in a cookie, so that's why we not use that the password here. I will only set that the username. Then now the next thing is the important to set that the cookie. So let's set that the cookie with the help of the set cookie function. Remember that in all language we can set that the cookie with the help of this function. The thing is change is only the syntax, right? So the syntaxes that we can use in the different type in the different programming language, it is depend. So that's why it is different things are there. Just a second. All right. Okay. So yes. Okay. So let's set that the cookie. So in a cookie, the first thing is that if we can see that the set cookie. Okay. So this is also that the way. So the first thing is that the name of the cookie and the value of the cookie. So the name of the cookie is we need to set the name of the cookie is username, and the value of the cookie whatever it is sent by the user. For example, user is submit that the admin username, then where the admin user is stored in a dollar name variable. So our value of the cookie are stored in a dollar name, and then we can give that the string to time is the expiration time. So I will just give the default is a 1 day. Okay, so this is that the cookie was set, and let's end up that semicolon. And now this is only that the function line number 4 is only that the function where we are used to set the cookie. Now that we can use that the echo dollar cookie, and then whatever or the name of the cookie, so username. So this one is only for the debug, right, to test that the cookie was set or not. And one more thing that we can do to check that the cookie, because after that when we secure that the cookie, so in that case it is required. So I will create the one more file to see that like the cookie was set or not. Cookie.php. With the help of this one we can see that like cookie was test set or not. This is just like a debugging code. So we can put the contents in our the file is called the mycookies.txt. It was automatically created. Username. Okay. So when I will open that the cookie file, so it was stored that the data of the cookie in the mycookies.txt file. It was automatically created that the file when we execute the file called the cookie.php. So now, yes, so let's come back onto the code again. So let me just cross verify the all are the things are good. All right. So when the user was submitted the request via the post method, it was stored that the name in a dollar name, and then we can set the cookie here. So the name of the cookie is that the username, value of the cookie is depend on to the user data, and string to time when it was expired. Now let's execute the code, and let's start that the XAMPP server. Okay. So as you can see that the user, so I will just write that the user password is not compulsory right now. Okay, and let's submit it. Right, when we submit it, so as you see that it was display the user, and why? Because we will print here, right? That's why it was give. Now as an attacker, I will just directly I will show you right now via the inspect eliminate to access the client side data in a real time. As we know, like the attacker have that the many ways to execute it via that the input field, also to execute that the script via the cross-site scripting, right? So right now that we can just see that the inspect eliminate and in a console, because whenever that the attacker was execute that the code is called like the cross-site scripting attack, so it is work like a console, right? So here in a code, what was the attacker was execute cookie. So see that if that the attacker was execute that the document.cookie using the cross-site scripting, so in that case it is displayed that this one. Okay, I think that we need to submit one more time. Let me just clear all the cookie first. Okay, so see that. So when I will execute a document.cookie, right? Basically, the attacker was executed via the cross-site scripting code, right? Is something like the script tag and all this thing, and then it was just find out that the which input parameter is that the vulnerable, and then it was try to execute. We can also do here right now. Okay, if it is. Okay, it was not execute because we will not give any functionality for to the execute this type of the code. We are just fetch the data normally, that's why. Alright, so that's why it was not stored anywhere in a database also, and not even in a server side and all these things, so that's why. Okay, so it was stored normally, see that, right? So this code is not like means whatever the code we write in a username, it is not like a executable because it was not connecting to a database right now, and also it does not have that the take that the request in like a get and the post, like it was just send is that it is not received. So that's why cross-site scripting not happening right now, and also not even it was the data was stored in our the database, so obviously how it is possible, so that's why. But yes, we can understand that with the help of the document.cookie, because we know like in a cross-site scripting also when was the attacker was execute that the code using the script tag, so result was seen, right? It was give that the cookie was in a clear text. Why? Because that the cookie was are onto the HTTP only, right? Cookie is not set onto the HTTP only, sorry. So that's why the cookie was visible. So in that case, what happened that here you can see that we need to secure that the cookie on the HTTP only with the help of this function set cookie, right? But the positions of the parameter is fixed. Okay, so position of the parameter is the fix. So now here we can see or the parameter is the value of the cookie, and the next parameter after the expiration, I think the expiration was missing here. Okay, after that the expiration, then we have that the domain. So right now we are onto the local host, so we don't need to give any domain, so I will just leave at the blank right now. Okay, so let's come on to that next one, slash. Okay, slash means that the parent domain, or in other case also in order live also you can give that the slash means like the all are the subdomains are the covered. Okay, we can just give the root directory, we can say. Then the next thing is that secure, and right now we are not use any SSL, so in that case we can leave blank. And the last one is HTTP only. Yes, we need to set the cookie onto the HTTP only true. Okay, remember that if the application was use the SSL, so in that case here also you need to set that the true. Okay, because it is for the SSL. Okay, but right now we are only onto the HTTP. In localhost we don't have the SSL right now, so we don't need to set here. So we can set the true here, and now let's try to access that the cookie. Now here I will set the admin, submit it. Okay, see now that the code was executed. Okay, let me just clear all the cookie and refresh that page. Okay, admin that was set previously, I will set the admin _1, submit it. let me just close the browser and let me just check that the parameters are the set properly or not. Yes. One more thing is the missing, I think. Let me check on to the, I think that one more thing is the miss is the path. This is slash for the path. Okay, let me set cookie in function. One is for the path and one is for the domain. So that's why it was not hide that the cookie. Yes, one is for the path and second is for the domain. So path, and right now we don't have any domain, right? Because we are work on to the localhost, and localhost we don't have any specific domain. So let's save as a blank this one also. All right. All good. Okay, now let's try to execute the code. Now it was not visible. So this one is visible because we are print that, right? So that's why. And if we are print from here, see, cookie was set. That's why it was set. The says the admin, print the admin, right? Otherwise, it is not print that. If cookie was not set, then it was not print here. But now the cookie was visible from here. See, cookie was not display in the HTTP only, and we know like if the anyhow that the attacker was try to execute the JavaScript code also, so in that case also it is not display, because as a HTTP it is not stored any data. It is stored but it is not visible. We will hide that the data. Okay, now to verify that the cookie was work or not, let me just execute the one more file which we created is cookie.php. And let's come on to the Sublime, and here you can see. Okay, so I think that was cookie was stored that some previous one. Let me call the submit the admin, refresh it, see that. See, cookie was working properly, right? Because in this file you can see what I will write, that store that the content of the cookie in my cookie.txt file, and that was happening here, right? So this is how that we can secure the cookie in all language. Just set the parameter HTTP only to the true. We have the other ways, and other things are also there in the cookie. Is called about the same site cookie. So same site cookie is a security feature that is allow the website owner to specify how the browser was handled that the cookie, and this one is protect the attack type is called the CSRF, right? So same site attribute was secured that the attack CSRF attack, which we can say like in short term that I will just explain you. It was not send that the same data again and again, and if it is sent, then it was create some of the tokens, right? That was we can discuss in our the CSRF vulnerability. So it was not sent at the any cross-site request. In simple term, that means we can see that like in our the large website where we can see that the request does not match signed currently are there in from the browser address bar. So in that case, we can see the recommended thing is that we can set the cookie, modify the data, sensitive actions, and all this thing, because you know like CSRF attack is also the part and relevant to this one, where the attacker was changed at the request, right? So to prevent this type of the things, in that case you can also set, basically thing is the same. This one is the hidden, and to secure from the same site you can use same site in a PHP. I think that we have the specific function for that. Yes, same site. Yes, specific function for that. Okay, so here you can see SAM site to the lags. Okay, so here this is how that we can set that the SAM site cookie. So for to secure that the cross-site cookies for third-party content, in that case, see again secure is set to the true, and this is what we discussed right now. Okay, here it is. This one. This one is there set to the true, and in that case also you can set that the cookie SAM site to the lax also to secure from the CSRF. But yes, for CSRF we have the different manual code for that we will discuss later, right? How that is was implemented and how we can secure it and all. Okay, so SAM site also we will discuss it all about that the later on our the later sessions when we are come on to the CSRF. Then I will explain you the SAM site again. And basically it is very easy to just you can use SAM site in this cookie parameter to secure the cross-site request, right? Third party context and all. So this is how that we can secure that the cookies in the PHP and in other language also. In JSP also we can implement the cookie R in the same way. The thing is changed, the syntaxes, right? In a JSP the syntaxes are the different. In the .NET also the syntax are the little bit are in a change. Okay, so we will also discuss that the cookies are in the JSP also how it was worked at. So this is how that we can secure that the cookies are in a PHP. Just remember you need to only use that the set cookie function. You don't need to write this complete code. So in the code in the code when you are review the application, so just go with the set cookie function, because in many time what happened the tools like Veracode, checkmarks and all this type of the tools was not sure that like in this application the set cookie function is the vulnerable, because here you can see the set cookie function is not vulnerable, the parameters is not used properly. So in that case sometime what happened that the some tools was not display you that like in this application that you have that the cookie related vulnerabilities, right? So you need to find manually. You can just go on to the main page, because cookies are always set on to the main page where you have the access of the login. So just go on to that particular page where you have that the login field, sign up field, any of the contact forms or any of the form are there. So just go on to that page, just see that there is a set cookie function or not. If it is, then just see that this function is used like this thing or not. If it is HTTP, then just set to the true and secure true also. In live you can also set this true or also. Okay, in the live application right now we are on the localhost, that's why it is not reflected onto the localhost. So that's why I will leave it blank, but the position of the parameter is a fix, remember that. Okay, so that is how that we can secure that the cookie in the PHP language. In other language also we can discuss, right? Now what I do that all the JSP related vulnerabilities I will not discuss. We will not discuss at same class. First now we can cover all the vulnerabilities and then we can come on to the JSP, because now the vulnerabilities are some are the advanced level of the vulnerabilities are also there, like LFI, RFI, SQL injection, CSRF and all this type of the attacks are there. So it is not possible to discuss that at the same time, because it was create the lot of confusion in the mind, confusion about the syntaxes, right? So that's it for today, that we can discuss that all about that the cookie related thing. Now if you have any question, any doubt related to this one or any other else, then you can ask me. Yes. Okay, so I think all are good. Okay, so if you don't have that any question, then yes, okay, good. Okay. Okay, so let's meet on to tomorrow with the new vulnerability, and is all about the path injection. Okay, bye bye all of you.